Shri Gurubhyo Nama. Namaste to all. It's a privilege for me to deliver something. And first of all, I would like to congratulate Pune University for organizing this webinar. And at the same time, I would like to very humbly congratulate Department of Physical Education, Pune University for taking initiative to organize this webinar. The theme of this webinar is wellness and introspective approach towards lifestyle. And considering this theme, I would like to speak something about health and well-being through yoga. So, if we see this present scenario, the situation, we can easily observe that there are certain points like imbalance between external environment and internal environment. Tremendous amount of stress is there. And because of that, we are restless both internally and externally. And due to that, several psychosomatic disorders and other ailments are there, such as constipation. So, prior to discuss the topic related to health and well-being, I feel there are some questions to be understood. And the questions are, what is health? What is well-being? How to achieve health and well-being through yoga? So, first of all, as we all know, it's a very famous definition about health. And it is a state of complete physical and mental and social well-being and not merely an absence of disease. When we talk about this health, everyone is talking about holistic health. But I feel we should go one step further and to discuss about holistic health and not only holistic health. We don't want only cure. We want promotion, prevention, and then cure. So what is this holistic health we are talking about? When we talk about this holistic health, we must consider health as a condition of optimum integrated functioning at all the levels like physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual as well. So when we talk about this integrated approach of all the aspects of personality, should we say that well-being means physically fit, mentally stable, emotionally balanced, social matured, and spiritually uplifted? If we achieve this, then only we can say we are having well-being. So, when we talk about this well-being, we have to consider three basic aspects. At one side, we understood it is not only the physical, not only the mental, not only emotional, not only social, but it is integrated approach of all the aspects of personality. So, when we talk about this integrated aspect of all the first 5 aspects of personality, we have to understand basically 3 fundamental principles of well-being. The first is part and whole relationship. What is the meaning of this part and whole relationship? When we talk about well-being, physical aspect is also related to well-being, mental aspect is also related to well-being, emotional aspect is also related to well-being, social aspect is also related to well-being, and spiritual aspect is also part of this well-being. Then what is the second fundamental principle? Relationship between the different parts. It means physical is related to mental, mental is related to emotional, emotional is related to social, social is related to spiritual, and spiritual is related to physical, and all aspects of personalities are interrelated with each other. And what is third? Equity of all the parts. Physically important, but at the same time mental is also important. At the same time emotional, at the same time social, and at the same time spiritual is also important. So we have to remember all the 3 fundamental principles when we talk about well-being. Then why yoga? because the aim is to achieve perfect coordination between different aspects of personality, and yoga is the best way out to achieve this. Sometimes in this world we see some are having physical well-being, some are having mental well-being, some are having emotional, some are having social, some are having spiritual. But when we talk about this wholeness, we have to understand all the five aspects. There should be proper, perfect coordination between all the five aspects. Now, as I'm talking about this health, so both are very broad terms. Yoga and health, they are both are very broad terms. They are interchangeable. So we can easily say that yoga is health and health is yoga. And that is the reason why people say yoga is a way of thinking and a way of life. So why it is way of life? Because yoga consider human as a whole. Yoga is not taking care of only physical personality, only mental personality. Yoga consider human as a whole because it covers all the aspects of human personality. So let us see what is physical well-being. Physical well-being means efficient functioning of all the organs and systems of the body. But when we talk about this well-being concept, unfortunately, people consider physical personality is important and not mental, not emotional. What is mental being? Mental activity has several levels of working. We have to understand all self-organizing activities are mental activities. Therefore, the process of sick and cure are essentially mental processes. What is emotional well-being? Emotional well-being means freedom from emotional disturbances. And now it is already proved that most of the physical illnesses are at least partly psychosomatic. It means that in the physical illnesses, role of mental faculty and role of emotional faculties both are very important. What is social well-being? Social well-being means facing all the realities of human existence. How you cope up with social arena. And what is spiritual well-being? Spiritual well-being means inner peace, compassion for others, respect for your life. Now, when we talk about this coordination between all the five aspects of personality or all the five aspects of well-being, we have to understand what is the root cause for disturbance in well-being. It is a diagram. If we see minutely, there are five aspects of personality. Every aspect is interrelated, we understood. Let us see what is going on. If some problem is there at social environment, because of that, it affects our emotional level. Up to certain level, our emotional personality try to cope up. But after some time, it is not possible for emotional personality to cope up and wanted to shift that burden at lower level of personality, which is mental personality. And now still pressure is there. Still adverse situations are there. And then what happens? At one side, emotional level is full. Wanted to shift that burden at mental level. And now mental level is also full. Wanted to shift that burden at somewhere else. Now the lower personality is physical. The problem which we are facing at emotional personality shifted to mental personality. From mental, it is unbearable, shifted to physical personality. And we start feeling, we start observing, we start getting problems at physical level. In fact, problem is at emotional level, turns to mental level, shifted to mental level, and now from there shifted to physical level. So there must be some practices. If problem is at emotional level, shifted to mental level, and then shifted to physical level, is there any practice if you perform at physical level will get effects at mental level and moreover at emotional level? And the answer is yes. The practices called yogic practices, because although you perform those practices through body, they are not only for the body, they are for higher faculties, and that's why yogic practices suggested as not only physical but psychophysical in nature. What is the meaning of this term psychophysical? You perform through body, but it is not only for the body, but it is for mind and it is for higher practices. So if you perform yogi practices at physical level, you can get miraculous results at mental level and emotional level. And then it is possible for you to cope up with social problems such as we are facing nowadays because of this pandemic. Another aspect is that the higher personality is spiritual. You can witness in this diagram. From below, you perform physical practices which will affect at your mental and emotional. But at the same time, if you perform some of the practices which are known as spiritual practices, will automatically give support, give boostings to release the pressure which is at your emotional level and mental level. So at one side, from below, you are practicing physical practices, and from above, you are practicing spiritual. If you practice both, then definitely it is easy for a participant or a seeker to release the pressure which we get from social arena. Here we have to understand one more thing. When I talk about spiritual, we have to understand Patanjali, a great master, a great Maharshi, is talking about Ashtanga Yoga. And when he's talking about Yama and Niyama, he's talking about basically Tapaha, Swadhyaya, and Ishwar Pranidhana, three things. If you perform those three things now, which we can consider as spiritual, automatically they will be useful to release emotional burden, similar as mental burden. One more thing I would like to tell you. I have given a reference about Patanjali Yoga Sutra, but most of the Hatha text, they are talking about very interesting concept, and that concept is Pinda and Brahmanda. What is the concept? It is called relationship between Pinda and Brahmanda. Whatever you will find in Brahmanda, the universe, you will find in Pinda. It is called relationship between microcosm and macrocosm. So there must be some relationship. Now you have to understand this very properly. If something is going on in the universe, it is affecting at your Pinda, to your body. If there is a relationship between Brahmanda and Pinda, if something is going on in this universe, it is affecting at your body. Can it be possible? If you perform some of the practices through body, it will affect the environment? And answer is yes. If some adverse effects are there due to this environmental conditions at your body level, if you perform some of the spiritual practices, yogic practices, definitely you can change spiritual, you can change this Brahmanda or this environment. So we have to understand this relationship between Pinda and Brahmanda. That's why practices are very important. So why yoga? When you perform yogic practices, it affects at your physical level, mental level, emotional level, social level, and at the same time, spiritual level. And then you get perfect integration between all the five aspects of your personality. And that's why Patanjali has mentioned Ashtanga Yoga, as we all know, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. Here, we have to understand hierarchy of Ashtanga Yoga. Why Patanjali explained yamas and niyamas in the beginning? Because either you accept or you reject. The fact is, We are divine by birth. We are spiritual by birth. So one should be understood that first his spiritual body should be adaptive to yoga. Then only practitioner who go for asana and then for pranayama. In that sense, pranayama and pratyahara is only possible for a person who achieved asana siddhi only by practicing yamas and niyamas. We have to understand in yoga everything is interrelated, but unfortunately some of the time people they don't know this, they start directly with asana. So to train your spiritual body is very, very essential. When we talk about different bodies, we have to understand that one should be understood that first his spiritual body should be adaptive, and we can adapt that body through yamas and niyamas. Then his gross body will be adaptive with asana. Then pranic body will be adaptive with pranayama. Then mind can be controlled by the practices of dharana, and then meditation will be adaptive. And finally, ananda body can also be adaptive. So it is called consolidation or alliance of all the systems of yogic thought. And that must be the reason why Patanjali explained Ashtanga yoga in proper sequence, started from yama up to samadhi. Yama, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. What is the simple equation of yogic practices? More you practice, more you understand. More you understand, more you achieve. And more you achieve, more you distribute. So practice makes man perfect. We have to practice more and more, especially in this situation. Why it is important to practice more and more? Because we can gain three different qualities in our life. One is called adjustability. Second is called adaptability. And the third is called upgradability. What is adjustability? If there are adverse situations in our life, still we try to tune up ourselves as per those situations. This is adjustability. We get that power to adjust. What is adaptability? Means without adjustability also sometimes person is capable to adapt the situation. And what is upgradability? Means although adverse situation may be there in our life, still we are not only upgrade ourselves, but we try to motivate others as well. This is called internal upgradation and also external upgradation. Now there are two things about this pandemic. At external level, things are going on very nicely, properly. Government is taking care of, all the NGOs are taking care of. But at internal level, we should know how to upgrade. Because most of the time we are confused. Most of the time stress level is very high. So at that time, upgradability is very essential. If we perform the proper practices of yoga, then automatically it is possible to get all the three stages of this adjustability, adaptability, and upgradability very easily. We can develop that qualities in our life. So here is a special program for you I want to suggest. Following is a sequential program for yoga practical session. If you want to conduct your practices every day, you can go for this. You can start your session with prayer, any prayer you can select, then go for Brahma Mudra, then go for asana. For example, Parvatasana, Ardhalasana, Bhujangasana, Ardha Shalabhasana or Shalabhasana, Dhanurasana, Pavana Muktasana, Vakrasana, Vajrasana, Vrikshasana, Shavasana and Makarasana wherever you need in between. After completion of asana, go for Shuddhi Kriya. You can perform Kapalabhati. Remember, qualitative approach is more important than quantitative. So you can do 3 rounds of 1 minute each, and after every round you should take 45 seconds, rest in between. So one round of 1 minute, then 45 seconds rest, again 1 minute round of Kapalabhati, 45 minutes second, like 3 rounds you have to perform. They go for pranayam, anulom vilom, or ujjayi, or both. You can perform 10 rounds, but without performing kumbhaka. You can go for 1 set or 2 sets as per your capacity. Don't force your body. After that, you can go for dharana. Dharana, breath awareness. You can observe your breathing. And finally, you go for chanting. If you have your own Ishta mantra, you can chant. Or if you like to chant Om, you can chant Om. So this is the program. You can go for any prayer. Just little bit explanation I would like to give you about this. Like Om Sahana Vavatu. You start with this. Then Brahma Mudra. Why Brahma Mudra is important? Because it removes rigidity in the neck region, help to overcome complaints of the cervical spine, remove tension, which is very important nowadays due to this situation, and feeling relaxation. Then you can go for Parvatasana. What are the benefits of Parvatasana? Relieves tensions in the neck and shoulder region, increase flexibility of the rib cage, improves respiratory efficiency. Then you can go for Ardha Halasana, promotes tone of the abdominal muscle and organs, gives steady pull to lumbar region, and brings flexibility to the hip joints. Then you can go for Bhujangasana, brings flexibility of the spine, strengthen back muscle, removes pain in the back and loin, improves respiratory functions. Then you can go for Ardha Shalabhasana, improves the tone of the abdominal organs, strengthen muscles of the loins, removes pain in the lumbar region. Then you can go for Shalabhasana. The benefits are strengthen muscles of the back and loins and the abdominal wall as well, improves functions of the abdominal organs like liver, pancreas, and intestine, improves respiratory efficiency. Then you can go for Dhanurasana, contributes to the flexibility of the spine, improves functions of the abdominal organs, improves lungs capacity, which is very essential nowadays, removes excess of fat on the abdomen. Then you can go for Vakrasana, gives flexibility to the spine, abdominal organs and decongested and their functions improved. Then you can go for Vajrasana, stretches thigh muscles, renders ankles and knee joints flexible and useful for higher practices such as pranayama and dhyana or meditation. Then you can go for Vrukshasana, improves psychological balance. When you try to balance your body, automatically it is useful to get psychological balance as well. Strengthen muscles of the legs, and then wherever you feel Shavasana or Makarasana essential, you can perform in between, because it is not only important to perform the asana, but in between it is important to perform relaxative postures. So you can go for Shavasana wherever applicable, removes physical and mental fatigue. Regular practice brings down the symptoms of tension like high blood pressure and other psychosomatic reactions and brings instant feeling of freshness. You can go for another relaxative posture, Makarasana. For example, what are the benefits? Removes fatigue and gives relaxation to the body, improves the functions of the abdominal organs by decongesting them and increase blood circulation, promotes efficient respiration. Then you can go for Kapalabhati. Remember, Shuddhi Kriyas are important to be performed prior to pranayam. Then you get more benefits of pranayam. So why Kapalabhati? What are the benefits? Cleanses the whole of the respiratory tract, promotes circulations of blood in the body, removes respiratory troubles like nasal and sinus congestion, and strengthen thoracic or diaphragm region. Then you can go for Anuloma Viloma, increases the efficiency of the respiratory functions, regulates proper circulation of the blood, and reduce tension and tranquilizes the mind. Then you can go for breath awareness, dharana. The thought process diminishes gradually, give rise to calmness of the mind, which is very important nowadays, and bring in tranquility and rhythm in organic functions. Then finally, you can go for chanting of Om, Namasmaran of Ishta Devata. If you have your own Namasmaran, chanting of the mantras, you can go for this, or otherwise you can chant Om. If you chant Om, you will get miraculous results at your all the aspects of 5 aspects of personality. When you get those results at your 5 aspects of personality, automatically it will be helpful to get well-being. But remember one thing, you have to understand, you have to perform all the practices considering fundamental principles of all the asanas, because all the great masters, they mentioned everything in ancient literature, which is called manuscripts. For example, Patanjali is talking about, say for example, fundamental principles of asana. Patanjali is talking about sthira sukham asanam and prayatna shaithilya ananta samapatti. We know that all the fundamental principles. So when you perform any kind of practical sessions, remember all the fundamental principles, practice as per your own limitations. If you have your own program, then go for that program. Otherwise, you can perform this program, which I would like to suggest to you. So here, answer, try to understand always in the question. Tremendous amount of stress is there due to this corona. And what is the understanding of corona? Remember one thing, always answer is always in the question and solution is always in the problem. Some says see, people are confused. Some say opposition is there, different thoughts are there. Some says are for risk. Some says different objections are there. Some says this corona creating negativity, and some says abnormal situations are there. But try to understand, this is not the full form of corona. The full form of corona is developing your courage. It is the opportunity to encash due to situation. Try to rejoice because you are getting opportunity to know you're within. Be optimistic. Several opportunities are there. Try to nourish yourself, not only with the food, not only with your knowledge, but try to nourish with your well-being. And remember, everything is achievable. So remember one thing, all the ancient texts, they are talking about one thing, etadapi gamishyati. What is the meaning of this? This too shall pass. It is only the question of time. Time matters because na kinchit shashvatam. Nothing is permanent. So try to keep faith on your practices and remember about this pandemic. Answer for pandemic is always pandemic. Remember this thing. You have to apply this Ashta Sutri in your life. Remember all the fundamental 8 principles in your life. P is for patience, which is called Sanyama, which is very important. A for austerity, it's a tapa. Government from external side doing tapa, taking care of all the doctors, NGOs, everyone, police department, everyone is taking care. It's like a tapa for them, austerity. Nourishment, yes. We should develop our all the 5 aspects of personality, not only with the food, but at the same time, nourish all your positive thoughts. Then determination. Yes, sankalpa is very important. You can do it. Then empathy, try to support those who are needy. And then also, it is a motivation to everyone, intrinsic motivation by your practices, intrinsic motivation by the people they are supporting. And then if you perform more, then what will happen? You practice more and more and you start getting intuition. Intuition, someone is there inside who is always guiding you. Someone is there inside who is always wanted to help you. So it is intuition, insight you are getting after performing those. And finally, C for care. Take care. Always be safe. Stay at your home. But remember, this is Ashta Sutri, which is the full form of pandemic. So remember, answer for pandemic is pandemic. Corona, always, if answer always in the question, solution always in the problem. So finally, I would like to tell you, this is a time for you to understand your own self. It is the journey for you to go introvert, perform your practices, and if there are any questions you want to ask, feel free to contact me. My email is there, my mobile is there. And finally, I would like to tell you that just continue your practices with positive mind. I'm sure that we can be able to throw this pandemic. So, Om. Finally, I would like to tell you, it's a great opportunity. Om Bhadram Karnebhiः Shrunuyam Devaः Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraः Sthirairangaistुष्टुवानसस्तनोभिः Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.